Hi everyone, today is March 31st and this is your ELA lesson today. Our objective is students will be able to use the setting to describe the mood of a story. Describe a setting. A setting is where and when a story takes place. A setting can also affect the mood or tone of a story. And right before we had this online instruction, we actually talked about mood and how authors write stories to make their audience members feel a certain way. I'll be reading this story called Thirsty, which we actually read in class, and then we'll be talking about the mood of the story. Thirsty. The day started badly. Jeremy was camping in a rocky meadow with his scout troop. As rain trickled down the sides of his tent, Jeremy wound up his new flashlight for 1 minute. The flashlight now had enough energy to work for an hour. He would need it on this gray day. He moved outside toward the smoky fire his leaders had started. I am thirsty, Jeremy growled, wishing they could just go home. Well, Jeremy, said Mr. Kim, one of the leaders, all our water is just about gone. The raccoons tipped over the water jugs last night, and now they're empty. Jeremy's mouth felt as dry as a desert, so he thought about where he could find water. They were miles from the nearest creek. Suddenly, a huge raindrop splashed on his head. That's it, he thought. Jeremy's crankiness left as he worked. He folded his waterproof tent in half, propped it on some rocks, and watched as a pool of water gathered in the center. He filled his water bottle from the tent pool, and soon everyone else followed his lead. As the group packed up its gear for the day's damp walk, Jeremy smiled. He had used Earth's resources to help his scout troop without hurting Earth. While the leaders put out the fire, Jeremy helped clean up the scouts' campsite. They left just a fire mark as evidence of their visit. The scouts then filed quietly along a deer path, holding their flashlights. The day was good after all. So now I'm thinking about how the setting might affect the mood of the story or how we feel as we read that story. Where does the story take place? These are the steps you need to follow in order to figure out the mood. The setting is usually revealed at the beginning of a story. This is often done to set a particular mood for a story. For example, a story that starts out on Mars would likely create a much different feeling from a story that starts at the library. Look for descriptive details in this story that pertain to the setting. Details describing the setting within a story can give just as many clues about the mood of a story as a location itself can. For example, describing a place as sunny creates a different mood from describing a place as rainy. Use this information to describe the mood of a story. After determining the location of a story and the text details describing that location, a reader should be able to explain how the author uses setting to create the story's mood. So we're thinking about where Thirsty, the story, took place and how it affects the mood of the story. So, where did this story take place? It took place outside in the rain in a rocky meadow, okay? And it said that right in our text. Look for descriptive details in the story that pertain to the setting. So this is when you go back to the story and you're looking for text evidence. Rain trickled down the sides of his tent, camping in a rocky meadow with his scout troop. So we didn't just make up that he was outside in the rain in a rocky meadow. It said that in the text. And then step 3, use this information to describe the mood of the story. The mood of the story is gloomy, sad. And gloomy is just another word for feeling really sad. And I know I felt that way as I was reading about Jeremy not having water and he was upset. His mouth was as dry as the desert. Okay, and his scouts didn't have water either. So that's how I felt when I read the story. Okay, so today's assignments, you're going to reread the Meadowlands on ReadWorks and you're going to in your packet and you're going to answer questions 6 to 10. I have also posted an assignment on Google Classroom for you all to answer. And it does have to do with how you felt when reading The Meadowlands. Okay? So everyone's answers will be different, but you need to use the race strategy to respond. So I need to see that text evidence. All right, I hope everyone has a day. Remember, your attendance is when you submit the assignment, so make sure you do that.